how you go about doing it. Now, in order for you to slash your water bill, you may want to think about ways to pay for water. Now, I don't know if your water bill is fixed where you pay annually, or have you actually thought about getting a water meter? That might actually help a great deal. Now, yes, because at least with water meter, you can properly understand you're actually paying for what you're using, or randomly being charged what you're being charged without questioning. So switching to a meter is free and could save you around £100 per year. So definitely it's worth looking into. And if you really want that, go and talk to your supplier. Now, there are other ways. You can pick up some free water savings gadget. Now, if you go online, I would suggest you check if you're a Thames Water user, then obviously try their website and it will lead you to ways to get hold of a gadget. Or Save Water, Save Money. That's a good one. You can just put your postcode, and that will give you access to different gadgets to save money. But of course, most importantly, to avoid wasting money. Obviously, you can take a shower instead of a bath because that will save water, no doubt. And of course, I will keep an eye out for fixed leak taps. There are plenty of options when it comes to cutting your water, by the way. You can check, let's say, for example, Energy Saving Trust to see what tips out there. That's a good one to you. Now, there are other ways, is how to work out how you're paying. So there are two ways you can pay your water bill. You can pay a set price per year. I know obviously most people are doing that. And this is called rateable billing. And of course, that might depend upon your house, really. You can look online and see it. The other is to work out if it's worth switching. And not many people actually do that. And also depending upon who is out there willing to take on, obviously. So if you are on rateable billing, you can choose to get a water meter instead. This can be cheaper, but it's not always, but it depends what it is. But of course, try using less water. That is a good one, of course, and see what it's all about. But of course, there are ways to make it cheap. First thing is first, see if you can change from meter instead of just paying a fixed rate, because that will definitely reduce it. Also, keep an eye out for leaks and leaks that are around. That may also save some more. And instead of having a bath, think of having a shower. Again, this will help you a great deal, no doubt. So for now, and of course, if you're struggling to pay your bills, different water companies have different services, and you might be able to apply for funds where you get a grant to write off your debt. So that's kind of when it comes to water. So let's now move into our second topic. That is about Yep, I'm trying to keep it exciting for you. Next one is really quite a good one. Especially if you don't know about bank accounts. Yes, I am going to be talking about bank accounts. My God, how amazing is that? We are going to be talking about bank accounts, types of bank accounts there are, if creditor is taking money from your bank account, how you can stop it, and also if you want to make a complaint against your bank, how you can do that. So yeah, so there's a lot to cover again. So let's try it in a sense of bank accounts and types of bank accounts there are. First, what we have is current accounts. We also have post office card accounts. We also have savings account. We also have basic bank account. And you also have, you may have heard me, oh God, my lips are going a bit funny now. We also have joint accounts. So there's lots of bank accounts, but what are the differences? Let me go through your current account first. Your current account really helps you to manage your money on a day-to-day basis. This includes paying your bills, saving money such as your salary or benefit, and keeping track of where your money is going. In fact, some current accounts can also earn you interest on the money you have in the account. So you need to check that. Although it is likely to be less than, obviously, many savings accounts, because savings accounts are designed for you to save money and you get interest, significant amount of interest. We'll talk later about it. But that's your current account. You will get a checkbook with your current account, which you can use to take money out. You may also get a debit card, which you can use in shops and cash machines. And the bank may let you have an overdraft facility, and you can have access to other kinds of credit. And you can also, sorry, got a cold. You can also set up what you call a direct debit and standing order. If you don't know the difference between a direct debit and a standing order, direct debit is where basically they take the money from you, and standing order is where you set up so they take money from you. Both ways they take the money, but it's all about being in control. Standing order is where you're in control. Direct debit is where they're in control. But here we go. It is, in the end, you can set those things up. In fact, some banks will let you cash a current account personal check or use your cash card at the post office free of charge. So there you are. That's basically your current account. So basically an account that you use for day-to-day purpose. Now, how is that different from, let's say, your post office? Okay, post office card account. Have you heard of it? Well, now you will. You can use post office a card account to collect your benefits. Yeah, your benefit, JSA, ESA, tax credit, which may mean working tax credit, child tax credit, and no doubt your pension. But, here's a huge but you can't pay any other money in. So another word is only for state benefits. You can only get your money out of a post office card account with a plastic card. And, plastic card and a personal identification number. So, I suppose, personal identification number is what stands on, well, abbreviation is PIN. If you know now, the meaning of PIN, it stands for personal identification number, okay? So you can't go overdrawn on your post office card account. So you can't, there is no access to credit, basically. It's basically what you got, you use what you got. And you can't use your card in any cash machine. So in other words, with post office, card is only for you to use your card in a post office. Yes, post office. The other one is savings account. You can use savings account to put money away. And that's nice. Sounds quite nice. I like it. I hope you like it too. That you'd like to save for the future. For emergencies or to buy expensive purchases like a car, posh car, or a holiday. Yes, I want to go to where? Saudi. Yep, here we go. Save money for Saudi. A savings account will give you, as I said before, interest on your money. So interest on your money is basically, you have to read the terms to find out how much interest you'll be getting per month and per year. And banks usually tell you beforehand, and if they decide to change it, they'll also tell you beforehand. So find out. So that's your savings account. So let's move on to your basic bank accounts. This is where things get a bit downhill, I'm afraid. If you have poor credit rating, or you're on low income, actually, and more like. So basic bank account is for those who have poor credit rating and or better, you're low income. You have problems opening a standard current account or savings account, because when banks decide whether to give you a current account or a savings account, they do a credit check. So they check your credit file. They see that you have not got an amazing, shiny report, so therefore they won't give you that. But you fall back on basic bank accounts. If you're in this situation, you might be entitled to a basic bank account. And usually most banks have that facility. It's just that they don't say this facility much because There's no business reason for them to explain. However, you can ask a bank or building society to open a basic bank account. The bank or building society must tell you whether it offers, there we go, as I said, okay? And you can open that account. If you have a bank account, you don't have to have any money to put in the account to open. You don't have to pay any fees. You don't have to pay your wages, salary, benefits, tax credit. You can pay in checks and cash. You can pay bills by direct debit. You can withdraw money from cash machines, so they'll give you a card. There are some problems, or the word is disadvantages, having a bank account. And that includes you won't be able to have a checkbook or go overdrawn. So basically, you won't get a checkbook that you can sign it and flash out to any organizations, and they'll accept it because no checkbooks allowed. And then you've got, and of course, that's kind of simple as that, I suppose. Not all bank basic accounts can be accessed at the post office, I'm afraid. If you want to do this, check with the bank before you open a basic bank account. So that's kind of that. Oh yeah, plus you can't be overdrawn because you can't. So that's kind of in a sense of different types of accounts. We talked about current, savings. We've also talked about basic. We also talked about post. What we haven't talked about yet is joint bank account. Again, that's quite different. You can, if you want to, open an account with husband, wife, civil partner, or someone who you live with. You can do that. I mean, there are joint accounts. You have to tell your bank that is what you want. You have to provide proof of your identity, including your name, date of birth, and address. And you have to show 2 separate documents that prove that you are, for example, your passport, where you live, for example, a recent bill. If you don't have any of the documents that the bank wants, they should accept a letter from a responsible person who knows you, such as a GP, teacher, social worker, a probation officer, or someone like me, a debt advisor. If you're a bankrupt, you have a record of fraud, you're not usually be allowed to open such an account. You may be refused permission to open a current account because you have poor credit rating. However, if you're bankrupt, you have a poor credit rating, you might be able to open a basic bank account. So there we are. We talked about bankruptcy earlier on. So now you are god and goddess of banking, I suppose. A building or a building society can refuse to open a bank account for you. They don't have to give a permission or reason, and there's usually nothing you can do about it. A bank or building society isn't allowed to open an account for someone who needs leave under the immigration rules to enter or stay in the UK but doesn't have it, for example. So that's kind of it really when it comes to different types of banks. But now, when it comes to card, what can you do if a bank or a building society or creditor tries to take money from your bank? That only applies, let's say, if you agree that someone can take money, a payment from your credit or debit card at a future date, and it's called continuous payment authority, i.e., you have given them the authority to take money continuously. But you can cancel the payment before it is taking place. It only applies to one-off payments, for example, to a paid loan company, or regular payments, such as to your gym membership or your magazine subscriptions or any other. Those are the examples that we're talking about, really. The rules about cancelling future card payments do not apply to, I'm afraid, card purchases for goods and services, such as in a shop or paying a hotel bill. Okay, so how do you stop it? The law says you can withdraw your consent and stop a future payment under a continuous payment authority at any, let me repeat the buzzword, at any time up to the end of business on the day before the payment is due. Okay? You can stop the consent, but to withdraw your consent, you simply tell whoever issued your card, that means the bank, the building society, or credit card company, that you don't want the payment to be made. So in other words, just tell them and say, look, man, I don't want that company or this company to take the money that I have set up. Can you please cancel it? They will cancel it. Yeah, but you should tell the card issuer by phone, email, or letter. But your card issuer has no right to insist that you ask the company taking the payment. So the company who you have set up the payment with, they are not allowed to insist. They have to stop the payment as you have instructed them to do. If you ask to stop a payment, this card issuer should investigate each case on its own merit. They should not apply a blanket policy. Okay, so if they decide to stop it, they can then investigate it and then come back, but they can't let the money go through. Okay, so as I said, you can cancel it on the phone. And if you decide to do that, but you must also follow it up by email, so then you have evidence that you've done it. And as you know, so many things happen or doesn't happen, although you may have said it on the phone, but there's no evidence to back it up. And in the future, let's say, for example, they decide to carry on paying on your behalf without your permission, you can request the money back from the company who instigated it. So that's what you could do. Okay, that's kind of in a sense of you stopping them paying on the phone. But if the company doesn't stop, then what do? If that happens, you are definitely entitled to your money back, and also you're entitled to request to cancel any interest and charges added to your account because of them not cancelling the payment. So you're entitled to any money you've lost or you've lost as a result of cancellation that you requested and they haven't cancelled. So you're entitled to interest and charges that you incurred and money that you may have lost as a result. And of course, if you're not happy, what can you do? That is a big question. If you're not happy, definitely you need to think about making a complaint. So now we are going to be talking about complaint against your banks and your building society. That's a hot subject. I'm excited by it all. I'm sure you are too. So how the bank or building society should treat you. Banks should always treat you with reasonable care and skill. Okay? This means, for example, they must act responsibly and keep accurate record of your finances. That's what they must do. When it comes to, they have to also treat you without discrimination. It's against the law for a bank or building society to discriminate against you, for example, because of your race. Hey, I'm brown skin, so you treated me differently. Or because of your sex. Oh, I'm a woman. How dare you? Or because of your disability. You can't see or you can't walk. Or your faith. I'm a Muslim and they don't allow you Muslims in a branch, for example. Or because of your sexual orientation. So, all those things. If you are discriminated against any of those reasons, you may first complain against them directly within the relevant banks. If not, you may want to think about taking your case to the Financial Ombudsman Services. In fact, you're also allowed to bring your claim in the county court. So that is allowed. But of course, first hurdle is Financial Service Ombudsman. And then if not, you can also think about bringing a discrimination in the county court for money, I suppose. Or even if you want them to make any adjustment, that you could do that. However, any losses you've incurred, any any suffering you experience, they need to be compensated. So what to do if things go wrong? Yeah, okay, of course, there we are. Write to them first, explaining your situation. So let's now then move on to the complaint process. Yep, there we go. Yeah, complaint process. The banks and building societies are required by law to have a written complaint process, which tells customers how to make a complaint. So yes, if you like my show on Your Money Matters, please start making noises and start making complaints. So they should have a complaint process. So you have to complain, obviously. The bank or building society must investigate your complaint and give you a clear answer within 8 weeks. 8 weeks. So let's not forget, 8 weeks, 2 months, 8 weeks. And then also they may send you an initial response saying, okay, we are investigating your complaint and we'll get back to you. And after that, within 8 weeks, they have to give you their final response. And this is the company's last response. And of course, once you have done that, you can then think about taking your case further. Your case will then go to Financial Ombudsman Services. And Financial Ombudsman Services is basically will look at your case and the company's case, and he has power to offer money, and he can do that based on individual cases, and give you a verdict. And I'm afraid that and the decision of the Financial Ombudsman Services is binding, and you can't appeal against the decision. If you are contemplating doing that, I suggest you seek legal advice. Definitely seek legal advice. And obviously, when it comes to making an appeal to the Financial Ombudsman Service, you can do it by yourself, or you can instruct, let's say, management companies who are fantastic at dealing with it, but they'll charge you money for it, obviously. Or get a lawyer. Of course, lawyer, legal. Why not do it? Fantastic. The other option is, if the Financial Ombudsman Services can't sort out your complaint, you can always go for county court. So that option is still open. You can bring a claim, small claims or medium claims, whichever claim it is. You may want to think about those things. And then again, it's in the context of Ministry of Justice. So you can argue your case again if you want to. But obviously, if references are made in relation to a Financial Ombudsman Service, it's worth you notifying that. Usually those who lose in Financial Ombudsman Services, and they end up losing in county court, but hey, why not? You give it a go. But the issue is, with county court, I'm afraid it's not free. You have to when you make a claim, you have to pay for it. Whilst Financial Ombudsman Services, it's free for you. So it's free for you unless companies get involved, and they will take money out of your claims. Whilst in county court or let's say in high court, the process is not free unless in very, very exceptional circumstances. You have to pay for it, and of course it's riskier too, because in Britain the principle is the party that wins gets all its cost, and if you lose, you end up basically paying for their legal cost. And so that's something you need to think about. And I really suggest that before you think about bringing your case to court, you seek lots of advice. You made up your mind, because once you get involved in the world of litigation, it can be a nightmare. So, listeners, what we have covered a lot. We've covered about tips of the week. There are two, if you remember. First is how do you deal with problems when flight companies go bust, and you get help, and who you can approach. Then we've looked at bank insolvency. We looked at 3 types of insolvency options for individuals. We looked at bankruptcy, debt relief order. We looked at also individual voluntary arrangement. And after the break, we've explored another tip of the week, and it was on how to save money on water, and the options that are available. And of course, finally, we've looked at different bank accounts that you can get in Britain, and also how you can get an account, and most importantly of all, when companies try to take money from your bank account, and how you can deal with it. And of course, if there are any problems with banks, ways that you can deal with the conflict. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you found the show very useful. And then I will say farewell for you for now. Until next week on your Money Matters show with Ripon Ray.